or was it against his will? Anwar's lawyers pick on the inconsistencies of the prosecution's case. And the red shirts want the deputy prime minister to surrender before they clear out of their Bangkok encampment. Good evening, everyone. I'm Timothy Go. Also coming up on Southeast Asia tonight, no time to monkey around. Cambodia under pressure to change the fate of its fast disappearing wildlife. We will begin tonight in the Philippines. It may not be official yet, but Senator Benigno Aquino looks all set to move into Malacañang Palace. About 20% of an estimated 38 million votes have yet to be tallied, but the results are already showing that Senator Aquino heading for a landslide win. He has thanked his countrymen for their support, and it is said to be already drawing up his cabinet.
Well, I'll go back to our campaign slogan. No? Government has lost its power to positively affect our people's lives because of corruption. Therefore, the first priority has to be address the issue of corruption. Get government's power back so that it can empower our people. And empower them in so many areas, you know? Education, in health, in having a judicial system that works and so on and so forth.
At least two presidential hopefuls have conceded victory to Mr. Aquino today. Manny Villar and Gilberto Teodoro have both congratulated Mr. Aquino on his impending victory in the Philippines' first ever national automated polls. The former president, Joseph Estrada, though, has yet to acknowledge an Aquino victory, even though he trails behind by about more than 4 million votes. The prospect of an Aquino victory was good news to the Philippines Stock Exchange, which closed almost 4% higher today. Filipinos are also optimistic and had their wish list for the incoming government.
Inaasahan ko na lang pagbabago dyan mawala ng mga korap sa gobyerno. Kasi nagpapahirap sa sambayanan yung corruption
Sana, number one na inaasahan ko, magkaroon ng pagbabago ng ekonomiya natin, lalo na nasa pamamalakad ng presidente. At sana, kaming mga mahihirap, natulungan niya.
The sodomy trial of Malaysian opposition leader Anwar Ibrahim is in the spotlight tonight as well. Discrepancies over the statement by a key witness and the prosecution's charges have taken center stage. The man who accused Mr. Anwar of sodomy has insisted that the incident took place without his consent. But the prosecution is charging Mr. Anwar for consensual sexual intercourse. Mr. Anwar has challenged the charges, saying there are glaring contradictions. He wants his accuser, Mohammed Saiful, to be disqualified for perjury. Mr. Saiful, who is a former aide to Mr. Anwar, had apparently stated in police reports that the sodomy took place in 2008 without his consent. He repeated those claims under cross-examination today. The prosecution says the Attorney General has the discretion to charge any person under any section. The court will decide by tomorrow whether the prosecution needs to supply the defense with statements given by Mr. Anwar's accuser. Indonesia's former chief detective Susno Duwaji has been detained for allegedly receiving bribes of about $55,000 US. Susno has received widespread media attention as a whistleblower in the National Police for revealing names of high-ranking officers involved in graft activities. He also claims the detention is meant to silence him. Well, hopes that a deal could be reached between the Thai government and red shirt protesters have been dashed today. The anti-government demonstrators have refused to call off their protests, saying their conditions for ending the 5-week occupation of Bangkok's main shopping district have not been met. But the government says it has done its best and the red shirts' demands are unclear. Elsewhere, the U.S. envoy Kurt Campbell has delivered a stern warning to Myanmar over buying weapons from North Korea, and analysts suspect the military-run country may be engaged in arms purchases with Pyongyang, including nuclear technology. Mr. Campbell told Myanmar's leaders to abide by UN sanctions which ban all arms exports from the north. He also urged them to take steps to ensure free and fair elections planned for this year. Mr. Campbell also met detained pro-democracy leader Aung San Suu Kyi yesterday, and they held talks for more than an hour at a guest house in Yangon. His visit comes just days after the dissolution of Ms. Suu Kyi's National League for Democracy Party, or the NLD. We'll bring you a business update when we return here on Southeast Asia Tonight and the rush to save Cambodia's fast disappearing primates. We'll bring you that story when we return. Time now for the business report. Malaysia's industrial output expanded at a faster than expected pace in March. Output jumped by 14.1% compared to a year ago, led by an increase In electricity and manufacturing output, the latest data signals that the ongoing recovery is broadening and that first quarter growth numbers will be strong. Let's have a look at stock market action today. Southeast Asian markets mostly lower amid concerns over the implementation of the massive bailout package for Greece. So Singapore's SCI fell by 0.8% on profit taking in banks, commodity firms, and rig builders. The SET in Bangkok fell by 0.9%. Cambodia has a huge monkey on its back. It's facing the problem of saving more than 90% of its primate species, which are at risk of extinction. And that is our report on Southeast Asia tonight for this Tuesday. More news from the East Asia region coming up in about half an hour. The weather forecast is coming up next.